So in the first session, we were on introduction. So we will continue with the introduction. Mataji, as we had discussed last time, the pattern that we discussed was we'll read one paragraph and briefly in 1 or 2 line maximum, 2 line, just summarize that and then read the next paragraph and summarize in 1 or 2 lines, so that we're able to keep the reading pace as well, and we understand the meaning also. Right? Yeah, okay, with it, Prabji, you want to read the first paragraph?
Yes, Mataji.
Okay, go ahead.
Just a second, Mataji.
I'll increase the font size. Okay.
In the 9th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, Sri Baldev is described as the son of Rohini, as wife of Vasudev. Vasudev, the father of Krishna, had 16 wives, and one of them was Rohini, the mother of Baldev. But Baldeva is also described as the son of Devaki. So, how could he be the son of both Devaki and Rohini? This was one of the questions put by Maharaj Pariksit to Shukdev Goswami, and it will be answered in due course. Maharaj Pariksit also asked Shukdev Goswami why Shri Krishna, just after his appearance as the son of Vasudev, was immediately carried to the house of Nanda Maharaj in Vrindavan, Gokula. He also wanted to know what the activities of Lord Krishna were while he was in Vrindavan and while he was in Mathura. Besides that, he especially inquisitive to know why Krishna killed his maternal uncle Kamsa. Kamsa, being the brother of his mother, was a very intimate superior to Krishna. So, how was it that he killed Kamsa? Also, Maharaj Pariksit asked how many years Lord Krishna remained in human society, how many years he regained over the kingdom of Dwarka, and how many wives he accepted there. A Kshatriya king is generally exonerated to accept accustomed to accept more than one wife. Therefore, Maharaj Pariksit also inquired about his number of wives. The subject matter of this book is Shukdev Goswami answering of this and answer of the questions asked by Pariksit Maharaj. Mataji, can I explain?
Just in 1, 2 lines, not more than that. Yes.
So, Mataji, in short, we can say in this Pariksit Maharaj, all questions are told that how many wives does Krishna has, and is Balramji the son of Devaki or is the son of Rohini?
Yeah.
So all the questions are asked to Shukdev Goswami.
Yes.
That will be answered.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you, Vidit Prabhuji. Okay. Sadhya Mataji, do you want to read the next 2 paragraphs?
Mataji, this is which page actually? I've lost it.
Sorry. I'm so sorry. So this is on the book, English book. It is page number 9, introduction.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Right. You are right. So your son has read
one paragraph till the first paragraph.
The other questions asked by Maharaj Pariksit.
So now we are still on page number 9. The one and we need to read the position of Maharaj Pariksit. Yes.
Hare Krishna.
So there are 2 paragraphs.
Yes, Srila Prabhupada. Right.
Thank you.
Right. The position of Maharaj Pariksit and Shukdev Goswami is unique. Maharaj Pariksit is the right person to hear about the transcendental pastimes of Krishna, and Shukdev Goswami is the right person to describe them. If such a fortunate combination is made possible, then Krishna Katha immediately becomes revealed, and people may benefit to the higher possible degree from such a conversation. This narration was presented by Shukdev Goswami when Maharaj Pariksit was prepared to give up his body, fasting on the bank of Ganges, in order to assure Shukdev Goswami that by hearing Krishna Katha, he would not feel tired. Maharaj Parikshit expressed himself very frankly. Hunger and thirst may give trouble to ordinary people or to me, but the topics of Krishna are so nice that one can continue to hear them without feeling tired, because such hearing situates one in the transcendental position. It is understood that one must be very fortunate to hear Krishna Katha as seriously as Maharaj Parikshit did. He was specially intent on the subject matter because he was expecting death at any moment. Every one of us should be conscious of death at every moment. This life is not at all assured. At any time, one can die. It does not matter whether one is a young man or an old man. So, before death takes place, we must fully be Krishna conscious.
Well, thank you so much, Mataji. Mataji, do you want to briefly summarize? Yeah.
Yes, I would like to. This says that hunger and thirst may give trouble to ordinary person to me. Yes, this says that Krishna Katha is very interesting for everyone, and one must spend one's fruitful time in hearing Krishna Katha, and then one can never feel tired about it. And this is very important for making connection because we can expect death at any moment. Doesn't matter whether we are old or young. Hare
Yes.
Krishna.
Yes. Thank you, Mataji. Thank you so much. So we are in the last paragraph.
Mataji, can I read?
With this property, let everybody get an opportunity. So, Poonam Mataji or Sita Radhya Mataji or Anita Mataji, anyone if you want to read Mataji?
Mataji, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Poonam Mataji, yes, Mataji.
At the point of his death, King Parikshit was hearing Srimad Bhagavatam from Sukadev Goswami. When King Parikshit expressed his untiring desire to hear about Krishna, Sukadev Goswami was very much pleased. Sukadev was the greatest of all Bhagavata reciters, and thus he began to speak about Krishna's pastimes, which destroy all inauspiciousness in this age of Kali. Sukadev Goswami thanked the king for his eagerness to hear about Krishna, and he encouraged him by saying, "My dear king, your intelligence is very keen because you are so eager to hear about the pastimes of Krishna." He informed Maharaj Parikshit that hearing and chanting the pastimes of Krishna are so auspicious that the process purifies the three varieties of men involved. He who recites the transcendental topic of Krishna, he who hears such topic, and he who inquires about him. These pastimes are just like the Ganges water, which flows from toe of Lord Vishnu. They purify the three worlds and the upper, middle, and lower planetary systems.
Hare Krishna, thank you so much, Mataji. Mataji, do you want to, in one line or two line, just briefly explain?
Uh, Here in this paragraph, it is the main point is that the hearing, reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam is very auspicious, and it can destroy all the inauspiciousness in our life.
Yes.
Mataji, can I also explain one thing?
Yes.
With this property, you can explain once you're reading. Is it fine? Okay, so this with this we come to the end of the introduction, and now we'll move on to chapter 1. Hare Krishna, Anita Mataji, or uh, yes, Subha Prabhuji, Nupur Mataji. Mataji, do you want to? And yeah, Subha Prabhuji, Mataji, anyone of you want to read the first paragraph?
Hare Krishna, yes, Mataji.
Yeah, thank you, Mataji.
The advent of Lord Krishna. Once the world was overburdened by the unnecessary defense force of different kings, who were actually demons, but were posing themselves as a royal order. At that time, the whole world became perturbed, and predominating deity of this earth, known as Bhumi, went to see Lord Brahma to tell of her calamities due to the demoniac kings. Bhumi assumed the shape of a cow and presented herself before Lord Brahma with tears in her eyes. She was bereaved and was weeping just to invoke the Lord's compassion. She related the calamitous position of the earth, and after hearing this, Lord Brahma became much aggrieved, and he at once started for the ocean of milk. Where Lord Vishnu resides, Lord Brahma was accompanied by all the demigods headed by Lord Shiva, and Bhumi was followed. Arriving on the shore of the Milk Ocean, Lord Brahma began to pacify Lord Vishnu, who had formerly saved the earthly planet by assuming the transcendental form of a boat. So in this para, we can see that Bhumi Devi went to Lord Brahma, and then Lord Brahma took her to Lord Vishnu, and Shiva was also with him. So in the next para, we get to know what happened.
Sure. Thank you. Thank you so much, Jabbar Mataji. So we have next paragraph. Yes. So, sorry. Hare Krishna, Anita Mataji, Subha Prabhuji, do you want to read the next paragraph? Hare Krishna, Nishta Mataji, Danu Pranam.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Anita Mataji, Danu. Mataji, would you? Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
In the Vedic mantras, there is a particular type of prayer called Purusham Shukta. Generally, the demigods offer their obeisances unto Vishnu, the supreme personality of Godhead, by chanting the Purusha Shukta. It is understood here that the predominating deity of every planet can see the Shukta Lord of his universe, Brahma, whenever there is some disturbance on his planet. And Brahma can approach the Supreme Lord Vishnu not by seeing him directly, but by standing on the shore of the ocean of milk. There is a planet with this universe called Space Deep, and on that planet there is an ocean of milk. It is understood from various Vedic scriptures that just as there is the ocean of water on this planet, there are various kinds of oceans on other planets. Somewhere there is an ocean of milk, somewhere there is an ocean of oil, and somewhere there are oceans of liquid and of many other types of liquids. The Purusha Shukta is the standard prayer which the demigods recite to appease the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Kshirodakshai Vishnu, because he is lying on the ocean of milk. He is called Kshirodakshai Vishnu. He is the form of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, from whom all the incarnation within this universe appear. Various
Krishna,
types.
yes. Yes,
In this
Mataji.
paragraph, we see various types of oceans, and status of Lord Vishnu, and the various types of oceans we can see.
Yes, Mataji. Thank you so much, Mataji. Nishta, Hare Krishna, Nishta Mataji, Danu Pranam Mataji. Would you be reading the next paragraph?
सॉरी हरे कृष्णा माता जी आप कर लो मैं ना अभी बिजी हूँ
हाँ, sure, Mataji. Sure. ठीक है. Okay. So, with it, Prabhuji, do you want to read the next paragraph? Yeah.
Yes, Mataji.
Okay.
After all the demigods offered the Purusha Sukta prayer to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, they apparently heard no response. The Lord Brahma personally sat in meditation, and there was a message transmission from Lord Vishnu to Brahma. Brahma then broadcasted the message to the demigods. That is the system of receiving Vedic knowledge. The Vedic knowledge is received first by Brahma from the Supreme Personality of Godhead through the medium of the heart. As stated in the beginning of Srimad Bhagavatam, Teen Brahma Tene Brahma Hridaya Adi Kaviye. The transcendental knowledge of the Vedas was transmitted to Lord Brahma through the heart. Here also, in the same way, only Brahma could understand the message transmitted by Lord Vishnu, and he broadcasted it to the demigods for their immediate action. The message was this: the Supreme Personality of Godhead would appear on the earth very soon, along with his supreme powerful potencies, and as long as he remained on the earth planet to execute his mission of annihilation the demons and establishing the devotees, the demigods should also remain there to assist him. They should all immediately take birth in the families of Yadu dynasty, wherein the Lord would also appear in the due course of time. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna would personally appear as the son of Vasudeva. Before his appearance, all the demigods, along with their wives, should appear in the different pious families in the world just to assist the Lord in the executing his mission. The exact word used here is Tat Priyatham, which means the demigod should appear on the earth in order to please the Lord. In other words, any living entity who lives only to satisfy the Lord is a demigod. The demigods were further informed that Ananta, the plenary portion of Lord Krishna, who is maintaining the universal planets by extending its millions of hoods, would also appear on earth before Lord Krishna appearance. They were also informed that the externally potency of Vishnu, Maya, with whom all the conditional souls are enamored, would Mataji, what's the word next to it? Would also appear by the order of Supreme Lord just to execute his purpose. Mataji, can I explain? Mataji, in this it is said when the demigod recited the prayer, then they didn't heard a response from Lord Vishnu. Then they go to Brahma, and Brahma did meditation. In his meditation, the Lord sent message in his heart, and he broadcasted to the demigod. So this is the process in material life also. Krishna sends message to our Guru, and Guru tells that to us, kind of. And then Brahma said, Krishna has told me that he'll appear very soon in due course of time with his potency. So he told the demigods to appear before him, and later on the demigods were also told that uh, Ananta, who is balancing the universe, will also appear before Krishna.
Thank you so much, Vidya Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dhanavad Pranam.
Hare Krishna, Bhave Mataji, Danu Pranam. Bhave Mataji, would you read the next two paragraphs?
Yes, Mataji.
Thanks.
After instructing and pacifying all the demigods as well as Bhumi with sweet words, Lord Brahma, the father of all Prajapatis or progenitors of the universal population, departed for his own abode, the highest material planet called Brahmaloka. The leader of the Yadu dynasty, King Sursena, was ruling over the country known as Mathura, wherein lies the city of the Mathura as well as the district known as Sursena, which was named after him. On account of the rule of King Sursena, Mathura became the capital city of all the kings of the Yadus. Mathura was also made the capital of the kings of the Yadu dynasty because the Yadus were a very pious family and knew that Mathura is the place where Lord Sri Krishna lives eternally, just as he also lives in Dwarka.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Bhave Mataji. Thank you so much. So here it is talking about that how that Mathura was the capital city of all the Yadu's kingdom. Okay. So, Hare Krishna, Poonam Mataji, or Satya Mataji, would you be reading the next two paragraphs?
Once upon a time, Vasudeva, the son of Surasena, just after marrying Devaki, was going home on his chariot with his newly wedded wife. The father of Devaki, known as Devka, had contributed a sufficient dowry because he was very affectionate towards his daughter. He had contributed hundreds of chariots towards his daughter. Sorry, he had contributed hundreds of chariots completely decorated with gold equipment. At that time, Kansa, the son of Ugrasen, in order to please his sister Devaki, had voluntarily taken the reins of the horses of Vasudeva's chariot and was driving. According to the custom of the Vedic civilization, when a girl is married, the brother takes the sister and brother in law to their home because the newly married girl may feel too much separation from her father's family. The brother goes with her until she reaches her father in law's house. The full dowry contributed by Devaka was as follows: 400 elephants fully decorated with golden garlands, 15,000 decorated horses, and 1,800 chariots. He also arranged for 200 beautiful girls to follow his daughter. The Kshatriya system of marriage still current in India dictates that when a Kshatriya is married, a few dozens of the bride's young girlfriends, in addition to the bride, go to the house of the king. The followers of the queen are called maidservants, but actually they act as friends of the queen. This practice is prevalent from time immemorial, traceable at least to the time before the advent of Lord Krishna's 5,000 years ago. So Vasudeva brought home another 200 beautiful girls along with his wife Devaki. Can I read the next para also?
Mataji, yes,
Uh,
yes, yes.
While the bride and bridegroom were passing along on the chariot, there were different kinds of musical instruments playing to indicate the auspicious moment. There were conch shells, bugles, drums, kettle drums combined together. They were vibrating a nice concert. The procession was passing very pleasingly, and Kansa was driving the chariot. When suddenly there was a miraculous sound vibrated from the sky, which specially announced to Kansa, Kansa, you're such a fool. You're driving the chariot of your sister and your brother-in-law, but you do not know the eighth child of his this sister will kill you. I don't think so. This is so simple and explained
Yes, yes.
required.
Yes, yes. Thank you, Mataji. This
Hare
one just
Krishna.
explains that how lavishly the marriage was done, and how because of the affection, the father of Devki, gave so much of dowry to.
Yeah,
Uh,
right.
yeah. Thank you,
Very
Mataji.
easy.
Yeah, thank you,
Hare
Mataji.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Poonam Mataji or Anita Mataji? Yeah,
Yes,
Poonam.
ma'am.
Thank you,
Hare
Mataji.
Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Kamsa was the son of Ugrasena of the Bhoja dynasty. It is said that Krishna was the most demoniac of all the Bhoja dynasty kings. Immediately after hearing the prophecy from the sky, he caught hold, he caught hold of Devaki's hair and was just about to kill her with his sword. Vasudev was astonished at Kamsa's behavior, and in order to pacify the cruel, shameless brother-in-law, he began to speak as follows. With great reason and evidence, he said, My dear brother-in-law Kamsa, you are the most famous king of the Bhoja dynasty, and people know that you are the greatest warrior and valiant king. How is it that you are so infuriated that you are prepared to kill a woman who is your own sister at this auspicious time of her marriage? Why should you be so much afraid of death? Death is already born along with your birth. From the very day you took your birth, you began to die. Suppose you are 25 years old, that means you have already died 25 years. Every moment, every second, you are dying. Why then should you be so much afraid of death? Final death is inevitable. You may die either today or in 100 years. You cannot avoid death. Why should you be so much afraid actually? Death means annihilation of the present body. As soon as the present body stops functioning and mixes with the five elements of material nature, the living entity within the body accepts another body according to his present action and reaction. It is just like when a man walks on the street, he puts forward his foot, and when he is confident that his foot is situated on sound ground, he lifts the other foot. In this way, one after another, the bodies change and the soul transmigrates. See how the plant form change from one twig to another so carefully. Similarly, the living entity changes his body as soon as the higher authorities decide on his next body. As long as the living entity is conditioned within this material world, he must take material bodies one after another. His next particular body is offered by the laws of nature according to the actions and reactions of this life. Hare Krishna Mataji, shall I continue?
So yes, Mataji. Yes, Mataji.
Yeah. This body is exactly like one of the bodies which we always see in dreams. During our dream of sleep, we create so many bodies according to mental creation. We have seen gold and we have also seen a mountain. So in a dream, we can see a golden mountain by combining the two ideas. Sometimes in dreams, we see that we have a body which is flying in the sky, and at that time, we completely forget our present body. Similarly, these bodies are changing. When you have one body, you forget the past body. During a dream, we may make contact with so many new kinds of bodies, but when we are awake, we forget them all. And actually, these material bodies are the creations of our mental activities. But at the present moment, we do not recollect our past bodies. The nature of the mind is flickering. Sometimes it accepts something and immediately it rejects the same thing. Accepting and rejecting is the process of the mind in contact with the five objects of sense gratification: form, taste, smell, sound, and touch. In its speculative way, the mind comes in touch with the object of sense gratification, and when the living entity desires a particular type of body, he gets it. Therefore, the body is an offering by the laws of material nature. The living entity accepts a body and comes out again into the material world to enjoy or suffer according to the constructions of the body. Unless we have a particular type of body, we cannot enjoy or suffer according to our mental proclivities inherited from the previous life. The particular type of body is actually offered to us according to our mental conditions at the time of death. Hare Krishna Mataji.
Krishna, thank you so much, Mataji. Mataji, do you want to briefly just in 1 or 2 line explain
Uh,
uh,
in all
summary? Yeah,
2 to 3 paragraphs, actually,
yes.
yes, Mataji. Vasudev actually tried to pacify the Kamsa,
Hmm. Hmm.
and he tried to avoid the killing of his newly wife
Hmm.
on behalf of Kamsa.
Yes. And in the first attempt, he tries to first educate him about the soul. He says that the body will. So he gives an example, just like a worm moves from one plant to another, just like we see, in our dreams. So the body, the soul moves from one body to another.
Yes, Mataji.
Thank you so much, Mataji. Okay, Hare Krishna, Anita Mataji, or Hare Krishna,
Hare
Anita.
Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Yes, Mataji. Mataji,
Uh,
would you be reading the next? Yes.
yes. The luminous planets like the sun, moon, or stars reflect themselves in different types of reservoirs, like water, oil, or heat. The reflection moves according to the movement of the reservoir. The reflection of the moon is on the water, and the moving water makes the moon also appear to be moving, but actually the moon is not moving. Similarly, by mental connection, consumption, the living entity attains in different kinds of bodies, although actually he has no connection with such bodies, but on account of illusion being enchanted by the influence of Maya. The living entity thinks that he belongs to a particular type of body. That is the why conditioned life. Suppose a living entity is now in a human form of body. He thinks that he belongs to the human community or a particular country of or particular place. He identifies himself in that way and unnecessarily prepares for another body, which is not required by him. Such desires and mental conservation are the factors of different types of bodies. The covering influence of material nature is so strong that the living entity is satisfied in whatever body he gets, and he identifies with that body with great pleasure. Therefore, I beg to request you not to be overwhelmed by the depiction of your mind and body. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yes. Thank you.
The reflection of moon on water का मतलब थोड़ा आप clear करें.
Sure, Mataji. So here, in continuation with what was happening in the previous paragraph, here also, Vasudev is basically trying to explain that Kansa should not get too attached or should not get dictated by his mind and body, because the body is only as per our desire, and the body will end at one point of time. So it is still in yes, is still trying to explain. Thank you, Mataji. So we have Hema Mataji. Hema Mataji, do you want to read? Actually, your name is not very clear. Hare Krishna. Hem Prabhuji Mataji from Bangalore. Mataji, do you want to read? Or Prabhuji? Hare Krishna. Okay. Nupur Mataji, do you want to read?
Yes, madam.
Thank you, Mataji.
Vasudev thus requested Kamsa not to be envious of the newly married sister. One should not be envious of anyone because envy is the cause of fear, both in this world and in the next. When one is before Yamaraj, the lord of punishment after death, Vasudev appealed to Kamsa on behalf of Devaki, stating that she was his younger sister. She also appealed at an auspicious moment at the time of marriage. A younger sister or brother is supposed to be protected as one's child. The position is overall so delicate, Vasudev reasoned, that if you kill her, it will go against your high reputation. In this way, Vasudev tried to pacify Kamsa by good instruction as well as by philosophical discrimination. But Kamsa was not to be pacified because his association was demonic. Because of his demonic association, he was a demon. Although born in a very high royal family, a demon never cares for any good instruction. He's just like a determined thief. One can give him royal instructions, but it will not be effective. Similarly, those who are demonic or atheistic by nature can hardly assimilate any good instructions, however authorized it may be. That is the difference between the demigods and the demons. Those who can accept good instruction and try to live their life in that way are called demigods, and those who are unable to take such good instructions are called demons. So, in this para, the difference between the demigods and demons, we can see that demons they never listen about anyone, And but the demigods are so pious and so acceptable. Whatever somebody says about the good, they always apply their instructions. एंड सेकेंडली नो वासुदेव जो है वो अपनी वाइफ को जो है बचाना चाहते थे और उन्होंने बताया कि क्या सिचुएशन थी कि मतलब एक जो छोटी बहन को एक अपने बच्चे की तरह मानना चाहिए कि आप उसको शादी के लिए छोड़ने जा रहे हो बट आप क्या कर रहे हो तो दिस इज अ थिंग एंड ही इज अ डेमन तो नहीं माने
Thank you so much, Nipur Mataji. Okay, so I'll read the next one. Failing in his attempt to pacify Kansa, Vasudev wondered how he would protect his wife, Devaki. When there is imminent danger, an intelligent person should try to avoid the dangerous position as far as possible. But if, in spite of endeavoring by all intelligence, one fails to avoid dangerous position, there is no fault on his part. One should try his best to execute his duties, but if the attempt fails, he is not at fault. So we see that in the past paragraph, Vasudev tried to explain the philosophy to Kansa. He even tried to tell him that his reputation will go down if he kills his sister at such an auspicious occasion. And but he was still not able to convince Kansa. So we'll see what happens next. Vidit Prabhuji, do you want to read the next two paragraphs?
Yes, Mataji. Vasudeva thought of his wife as follows. For the present, let me save the life of Devaki. Then later on, if there are children, I shall see how to save them. He further thought, if in future I get a child who can kill Kamsa, just as Kamsa is thinking, then both Devaki and the child will be saved because the law of providence is inconceivable. But now, some way or other, let me save the life of Devaki. So, Mataji, in the first paragraph, Vasudev is trying to say, let me save now, for now only, let me save the life of Devaki. In future, we'll think about what will be the sons, and if a son will be born who can kill Kansa, as Kansa is thinking, so then the child can also be saved and the mother can also be saved. Next, there's no certainty how a living entity contacts a certain type of body, just as there is no certainty how a blazing fire comes in contact with a certain type of wood in the forest. When there is a forest fire, it is experienced that the blazing fire sometimes leaps over one tree and catches another by the influence of the wind. Similarly, a living entity may be very careful in the matter of executing his duties, but it is still very difficult for him to know what type of body he is going to get in the next life. Maharaj Bharata was very faithful executing the duties of self-realization, but by chance he developed temporary affection for a deer, and in his next life he accepted the body of a deer. So माता जी इसमें लिखा है कि जो भी आप अपनी ड्यूटीज एग्जीक्यूट कर रहे हो, आपसे किसी को वो नहीं करना, किसी के मतलब एफेक्शनेट नहीं होना. जैसे महाराज भरत अफेक्शनेट हो गए थे जबकि वो 8th उस पे पहुंच गए थे. हाँ, भाग स्टेज पे पहुंच गए थे, तब भी वो वहां से फॉल डाउन हुआ.
Bhavya Mataji, do you want to read the next paragraph, beta?
Yes, Mataji.
Thank you.
Vasudev, after deliberating on how to save his wife, began to speak to Kansa with great respect. Although Kansa was the most sinful man, sometimes it happens that a most virtuous person like Vasudev has to flatter a person like Kansa, a most vicious person. That is the way of all diplomatic transactions. Although Vasudeva was deeply aggrieved, he smiled outwardly. He addressed the shameless Kansa is that way because he was atrocious. Vasudev said to Kansa, "My dear brother-in-law, please consider that you have no danger from your sister. You are awaiting some danger because you have heard a prophetic voice in the sky. But the danger is it come from the sons of your sister who are not present now, and who knows, there may or may not be sons in the future. Considering all these, you are safe for the present, nor is there cause of fear from your sister. If there are any sons born of her, I promise that I shall present all of them to you for necessary."
Thank you, Bhave Mataji.
Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you. So we can see that initially Vasudev tried to give him good instruction about body and soul. Then he even tried to give philosophical discrimination by telling him about high reputation. But finally, he had to come into a diplomatic way of explaining Kansa. He had to take a diplomatic position to save his wife Devki. Thank you. Hare Krishna, Poonam
I
Mataji.
can read. I can read.
Hi, yes, Nishtu. Thank you so much, Nishtu Mataji.
ओके सो ये कौन सा वाला पैराग्राफ है?
माताजी ये है पेज नंबर 18. कंसा न्यू द वैल्यू ऑफ वासुदेवा, नीचे से सेकंड वाला.
Okay, yes,
हाँ,
thank you.
thank you.
Kansa knew the value of Vasudeva's word of honor, and he was convinced by his argument. From the time being, he desisted from the heinous killing of his sister. Thus, Vasudeva was pleased and praised the decision of Kansa. In this way, he returned to his home. Should I continue? Next paragraph.
Yes, Mataji, please, if you could continue.
Yes. Each year thereafter, in due course of time, Devaki gave birth to a child. Thus, she gave birth to 8 male children as well as one daughter. When the first son was born, Vasudev kept his word of honor and immediately brought the child before Kansa. It is said that Vasudev was very much elevated and famous for his word of honor, and he wanted to maintain this fame. Although it was very painful for Vasudev to hand over the newly born child, Kansa was very glad to receive him. But he became a little compassionate with the behavior of Vasudev. This event is very exemplary. For a great soul like Vasudev, there is nothing considered to be painful in the course of discharging one's duty. A learned person like Vasudev carries out his duty without hesitation. On the other hand, a demon like Kansa never hesitates in committing any abominable action. It is said that therefore a saintly person can tolerate all kinds of miserable conditions of life. A learned man can discharge his duties without awaiting favorable circumstances. A heinous person like Kansa can act in any sinful way, and a devotee can sacrifice everything to satisfy the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
Krishna, thank you, Mataji. Mataji, uh, would you read next
You
two
can
paragraph? हाँ,
okay, I'll read next two
हाँ,
also.
yes.
Kansa became satisfied by the action of Vasudev. He was surprised to see Vasudev keeping his promise and being compassionate upon him, and pleased, he began to speak as follows. My dear Vasudev, you need not present this child to me. I am not in danger from this child. I have heard that the 8th child born of you and Devaki will kill me. Why should I accept this child unnecessarily? You can take him back. When Vasudev was returning home with his firstborn child, although he was pleased by the behavior of Kansa, he could not believe in him because he knew that Kansa was uncontrolled. An atheistic person cannot be firm in his word of honor. One who cannot control the senses cannot be steady in his determination. The great politician Chanakya Pandit said, "Never put your trust in a diplomat or a woman." Those who are addicted to unrestricted sense gratification can never be truthful, nor can they be trusted with any faith.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Mataji.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mataji. Mataji, would you like to, in one or two lines, just summarize?
आप कर लो, आप अच्छा करते हो.
Thank you, Mataji. Mataji here. So Srila Prabhupada has mentioned very important thing in this these paragraphs. So Srila Prabhupada says that a saintly person can tolerate all kinds of miseries. And a learned person, a person who's learned, can discharge his duties without awaiting for a favorable circumstances. However, a person like Kansa, who's demonic, he would never be satisfied by anybody. And lastly, Srila Prabhupada says a devotee can sacrifice anything to satisfy the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Okay.
Hare Krishna. Can I read
Hare
the
Krishna.
next one, Aditi?
Hi, yes, Adimati. If you could read the next two, please.
At that time, the great sage Narada came to Kansa. He was informed of Kansa's becoming compassionate to Vasudeva and returning his firstborn child. Narada was very eager to accelerate the descent of Lord Krishna as soon as possible. He therefore informed Kansa that in Vrindavan, personalities like Nand Maharaj and all the other cowherd men and their wives, and on the other side, Vasudeva, his father, Surusena, and all his relatives born in the family of Varshini of Yadu dynasty, along with all their friends and well-wishers, were actually demigods. Narada warned Kansa to be careful of them since Kansa and his friends and advisors were all demons. Demons are always afraid of demigods. After being thus informed by Narada about the appearance of the demigods in different families, Kansa at once became very much alarmed. He understood that since the demigods had already appeared, Lord Vishnu must be coming soon. He at once arrested both his brother in law Vasudeva and Devaki and put them behind prison bars. Within the prison, shackled in iron chains, Vasudeva and Devaki gave birth to a male child year after year, and Kansa, thinking each of the babies to be the incarnation of Vishnu, killed them one after another. He was particularly afraid of the eighth child, but after the visit of Narada, he came to the conclusion that any child might be Krishna. Therefore, it was better to kill all the babies who took birth from Devaki and Vasudeva. Can I read the next one also?
Yes, Mataji, I was about to say that. Yes.
This action of Kansa is not very difficult to understand. In the history of the world, there are many instances of persons in the royal order who have killed their father, brother, or whole family and friends for the satisfaction of their ambitions. There is nothing astonishing about this, for members of the demonic, greedy royal order can kill anyone for their nefarious ambitions. Kansa was made aware of his previous birth by the grace of Narada. He learned that in his previous birth he had been a demon of the name Kalanemi and that he had been killed by Vishnu. Having now taken his birth in the Bhoj family, he decided to become the deadly enemy of Yadu dynasty. Krishna was going to take birth in that family, and Kansa was very much afraid that he would be killed by Krishna, just as he had been killed in his last birth. He first of all imprisoned his father Ugrasen because he was the chief king among the Yadu, Bhoj, and Andhaka, Andhaka dynasties, and he also occupied the kingdom of Surusena, Vasudeva's father. He declared himself the king of all such places. Thus ends the Bhakti Vedant purport of the first chapter of Krishna, the advent of Lord Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Mataji. Mataji, do you want to just
You explain it better, actually.
Thank you, Mataji. So, Mataji, here we saw that how Narad Muni came, and we know that Narad Muni always wants to accelerate the action of the Lord. So, because Narad Muni wanted to accelerate the appearance of the Lord, he informed Kansa that all the demigods have already taken birth in the Yadu dynasty, and then also he informed Kansa that in your previous birth you were Kal Nemi, a demon, and you were killed by Vishnu. So he in a way ensured that the Kansa does not becomes complacent on his action, and Krishna's birth is accelerated. There is one more very interesting thing Srila Prabhupada writes, that the action of Kansa is not very difficult to understand, because in history we've seen that many people, in order to get royal thorn, they kill their own family members. And while you were reading this, Mataji, I suddenly remembered sometime back it happened in Nepal. So the royal dynasty, the whole family was murdered, right? And so it is true that for the seat, for the royal seat, people are ready to kill even their own relatives, to come
Even
into.
in, I would like to add on here, in 1975, even the king of Sikkim, Gangtok, was killed, and
Killed, yeah.
so was made the part of India then.
Yes, 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 Madhavi. Yes, yes. Thank you so much, Madhavi. So, Madhavi, we've completed the first chapter, and we're almost 11:30.
But one question I would like to ask here is,
Yes, yes,
why his Ugrasen, his father was imprisoned? What was the reason behind this?
yes,
So that
yes. So he's mentioned that his father was the chief of Yadu and Bhoj both dynasty, and Andhaka dynasty. In the sense, he was kind of made the head of Bhoja and Yadu and Andhaka dynasty. And Ugrasen, being a nice person, would had not have favored killing Yadu. So basically it's written that Kansa is born in Bhoj dynasty and Krishna would be born in Yadu dynasty. So Kansa wanted to basically punish all the people in Yadu dynasty, because that's where all the demigods were being born. So the first thing he did was he imprisoned his own father, because his father was responsible for all these dynasties together, and he would not allow him to, harm somebody within the same dynasty.
Mataji, may I ask a question?
Yes, yes, Bhavya Mataji.
Mataji, I saw in Mahabharata that Kansa have killed all the 8 children. लेकिन माताजी इसमें तो लिखा है कि उन्होंने सिर्फ 8th child को ही मारा था.
He killed all of them, and we will see in the coming chapters that how he killed the 6 children, and then how Balram ji moved to the womb of Mother Rohini, and then how Krishna also moved and he killed Maya, one girl child.
Okay, Mataji, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Mataji, does anybody else wants to say anything about the first chapter? And then next time we can start with the second chapter.
Mataji, can we do it on alternate days? Reason being
Uh-huh.
that there are so many chapters and the book is very thick,
Yes, yes,
and
yes.
so we should. I think so. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, we can increase one day in a week
Sure, sure,
Yeah,
Mataji.
even I
or
agree
in
that.
coming days.
Yes, sure, Mataji. So we have Tuesday, Thursday. We can include Saturday also if everyone is fine.
Yes,
Yes,
Mataji.
Yes,
because
yes, yes, we can
everyone
do
can
that.
take up 1 hour. There is no this thing.
Yes, yes, sure.
We have to hurry up to
Yes, to read it. Yes, yes,
yeah, it
yeah,
is required
yes,
because it is. I'm finding it very interesting.
yes,
Even I feel that we should have it daily because it is very, really very absorbing,
yes,
very nice, very heart
Good
melting
vibrations we
realization.
get, in fact, very nice, positive vibrations we get, and energy
Yes,
for the whole day.
yes,
I think
yes.
we should read it daily.
Okay, Mataji, as you suggest. So we can make it
So
daily
we can
also.
try. We
Yes,
can try for a month. We can do it daily.
Monday to
And
Friday. Yeah, sure. Yes, sure, Mataji.
I mean to say daily means the entire month. No, no break.
Yes, because there is
Okay, okay,
1 hour
sure,
is
sure.
Yes,
nothing.
Mataji, Saturday,
It
Sunday
would
also.
be very interesting, in fact.
Yes,
And
yes.
from next month, we will increase the time also from 1 hour to 1.5 hours.
Sure, sure, Mataji. Definitely. Sure.
I think 1 hour is fine, but we should be consistent in reading every day.
Daily. Sure,
That
Mataji.
is there.